With the recent resurgence of Crash Bandicoot, it's only a matter of time before Insomniac's Purple Dragon gets the same treatment. Before that happens though, I think it's a healthy exercise to discuss what exactly that remake should entail for said product. After all, the original Spyro trilogy was absolutely fantastic, but it isn't exempt for having quite a few flaws that if this remaster were to fix said flaws, these games could potentially be improved to the point where people will say that these are the best platformers of all time. With that being said, let's begin. Number 10. Improve the Spyro 3 side characters. I think this is probably the most obvious one, but I could definitely see the developers wanting to stay too true to the original Spyro 3 and keeping the controls of the alternate Spyro 3 characters the exact same. The issue, I will admit, matters more for some characters than it does for others, like Bentley the Yeti for example wouldn't exactly be largely affected from a change in combat or movement, as I feel his slow combat fits the character. On the other hand is pretty much everyone else. Sergeant Bird, Sheila, and Agent 9 could benefit from a more free-form style of movement, which means different aspects for all three. Sheila, for example, feels a little clunky, so make her control a bit more like Spyro with the fast turning, and allow her more control when airborne from her jump. As for Sergeant Bird, make him control like a mixture of his Spyro 3 and Hero's Tail appearances. Have his weapons control similar to the latter, but make sure that his flight abilities don't make the levels too easy, to be more in line with the former. Just give him a flight meter or something, that would probably work. Agent 9 specifically could use a little more weapon variety, rather than just using his pistol, and well, you see Ratchet from Ratchet & Clank? Just make him control like that, honestly. As far as the Sparks levels are concerned, I'm pretty much okay with those staying personally. You don't really need to change anything too much there. Number 9. Give Spyro an unlockable hover ability in Spyro 1. One large aspect that many fans enjoy about the second and third games, specifically over the first, is the ability to control your jumps with the hover ability. Spyro 1 could really benefit from having this ability, as there are a lot of times where I would misplace my jump, and a simple glide wouldn't allow me to reach my destination in the original Spyro. I honestly feel like it would be just fine having this ability from the start of the game, but having it unlockable I feel would be a fun challenge to find where the ability is, and also keep Spyro 1 purists happy, if any of those exist. Number 8. Give Sparks the Gem Finder ability in all three games. I think that Spyro fans can agree that there's nothing more frustrating than roaming around the entire map when you're just one gem below the full gem count for the level, and you simply can't find that last gem. Having the Gem Finder ability as well as having it be a very early unlockable in all three games will be delaying the graying of my hair by several years. Much like the previous entry, you could also make a fun extra challenge stage that allows you to unlock the ability. Number 7. Have Hunter fully playable in all stages with the press of a button, or two. Remember how interesting it was when in Hero's Tail you got to play as Hunter for a few sections of the stages? Well, since Hunter is basically the Coco of the Spyro universe, it would be a real delight to have Hunter playable in every single stage across the Spyro trilogy. I understand that this would probably be incredibly complicated, as all the levels in all three games are designed around Spyro's moveset, but that is precisely why I think Hunter should be playable with the press of a button or two, and allow you to complete the stages with both characters. As for how Hunter should control, I really enjoyed how he controlled in his Hero's Tail appearance, so I would stick to that particular style personally. Though, I guess if you wanted to attempt to have him control like Spyro, you could give him some kind of long jump or maybe a glider. Number 6. Keep the loading screens either short or non-existent. One issue I have with the Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy is that its long load times before each level ever so slightly throw off the pace of playing the game. This was due to having to load the entire level of the game rather than just a section of it. Since Spyro's levels are relatively large, having an immense amount of detail in the stages may result in having load times be as long as Enter the Dragonflies. Oh no! If it's possible to only load a section of these stages and have the rest load while you're playing the stage, it would keep the load times as short as they are in the original trilogy. Number 5. Stay as close to the original Spyro designs as humanly possible. This is an aspect of design that the Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy absolutely nailed. The Crash model they use works brilliantly, and fits the tone of all 3 games no problem. The Spyro model they use in the remaster of Spyro should feel the exact same for its trilogy. The best way to do this is to make him look like the box art or the concept art Spyro that you generally see being shopped around. Number 4. Make the voice acting as faithful as possible while still improving on it. The voice acting in the original Spyro trilogy is,
Calm down, Hunter, and stop fidgeting.
But you saw the professor's book. They have claws like this, teeth like this.
shoddy at best. But it does add a certain level of charm to the games. One aspect I would like to remain similar to the original trilogy is to give Spyro a different sounding voice in the first game than in the other 2. When I was a kid, since I didn't know that these characters were being voiced by real people, I was 5 years old, shut up, I had always figured that the reason Spyro sounds so different in the first game is because he actually grew older as the trilogy went on. As for everyone else, at least try and find some voice actors that do voices similar to the original casting. Or better yet, just get the original voice actors if you can. Also, keep all the thank you for releasing me dragons, because they're hilarious. Number 3. Remastered music. Another aspect of design that N Sane nailed was to remaster all of the music rather than make remixes of the music. If there's anything I can say about the original trilogy of Spyro, it's that, with the exception of a few tracks, like the fucking Sergeant Bird theme, the music is largely flawless and doesn't need to be tampered with. Adding a bit more of a modern edge while still keeping the artistic integrity of the original tracks seems to be the best way of doing it, so see if good old Stewie is up for a jam session. Number 2. Give all the levels in every game an opening cutscene. One of the best parts of Spyro 2 is that, before starting a level, you would get this hilarious cutscene that plays, showing off what the characters and enemies of that particular world are like. It really adds to the world building of Spyro 2, and would be an extremely interesting addition to see in Spyro 1 and 3, to see what kind of intros they could come up with. Now this is a story all about how my fucking recording for one fucked up, so now I gotta record this shit again, so that's why this mic quality sounds different. Number 1. Have a nasty's loot in every game. At the end of Spyro 1, if you had achieved 100% completion in every stage, after the credits had ended, you could actually go to this area that was previously inaccessible. This area is called Nasty's Loot, and it essentially involves you being given full flight control as you swooped around and picked up all the treasure that Nasty Nork had stored up. The other 2 Spyro games could use something in the vein of this. What exactly would that mean for Ripto and the Sorceress? No clue, but I'm sure the developers can get creative with this. Anyways, this was just a short little project I decided to make in between larger videos, so I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.